Welcome to what I'm calling my February half-term special. Hi, it's Martin, and rather than being some full-on training, this is just a collection of observations, insights, a little bit of celebration, a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of education, and even an opportunity, all to help my fellow parents. Okay, if you know me, you know that I am passionate about family and helping other people with families, especially those that are working in the corporate world and they're managers, they're leaders, they're business owners, and they're trying to balance that professional pressure and the growth and everything that goes on there with raising a family and spending quality time with their family. I'm so passionate about this, having got it wrong for so many years when I was in the corporate world. But I turn things around and figure things out. And so this is what this is all about. So if you're a parent that drew a line in the sand and went, enough is enough, I can't operate like this, I've got to be better and do better, and you've been making some progress, you've been making some small changes that have really helped you, this is for you. I'm celebrating you. If you haven't, if there's like something in you that's like, I just wish it was better. And it might be frustration. It might be deeper than that. It's like, I wish I could get a handle on the work situation so that I could spend more time with my family, because I've only got working harder and longer as my strategy. If that's you and you're either you've made the decision that enough is enough, but you don't know what to do next, or you're just on the cusp of it, this is definitely for you. Okay? So there you go. That's the preamble. So let's get into it. Five months. Observation on the last 5 months. Observation on the last 5 weeks. And then projecting forward the next 5 weeks and the next 5 months. So what's that all about? This is all going to make a lot of sense. And it's a beautiful time of the year to do this, because it is all about the fives. So 5 months ago, September, it was the beginning of the academic year. And if you remember, I did videos back then to say, beginning of the academic year is a fantastic time to make that statement. Enough is enough. Right, this year is going to be better. This academic year is going to be different. I'm going to do better. I'm going to be more around for my children. And this is the focus when it comes to like that September trigger for this. It's like, I want to be around more for my children in this academic year. I want to get home earlier. I want to be involved in their homework. I want to be involved in what's going on at school. I want to be either dropping them off in the morning or picking them up in the afternoon or taking them to club. I want to be around in the evenings so that I can play with them. I can have tea with them. I'm there at bedtime so I can, read a bedtime story. I can sing a bedtime song. I'm more actively involved and present in your children's life. So this was the message in September, and it's a great time to start at the beginning of the academic year. I know that's not where we're at right now. Bear with me. In September, there's a whole load of parents that made that declaration. And 5 months later, they are seeing the benefit, enjoying the benefit of the compound effect of all the things that they've been doing for the last 5 months. Now, no, if you didn't take that opportunity, if you haven't made that progress, if you haven't taken those actions, I'm not here to make you feel bad. In fact, I'm going to inspire you as to what you could possibly do now. But let's just go back to these people that made this declaration. They wanted to spend more quality time with their family, very much be more present in their children's lives. But they also know that if they can do that, they can also have a better relationship with their partner, spend more quality time with them as well. So as a family unit, you've got the experiences, you've got the emotions, you've got the presence, you've got the time. But in order to do that, they had to get back in control of their work. They had to get in control of their workload. They had to be able to focus their time and look at work differently. Because like most people that kind of go through the corporate world and even create your own businesses, There's this mindset that all you've got is work harder and longer as your strategy. As more and more things come in, as things hit sideways, it's just work harder and longer. And it just doesn't work. It might have worked up to a point, but it gets to a point where that means you're not spending time with your family and your health is deteriorating. And you know this. So you needed to get in control of the work situation, set some boundaries around that in order to enjoy the family life that you want. So in September, a lot of parents went, you know what? This year's going to be the year. And they've been doing what, and maybe you're one of them, right? What you and I know that other people don't know. You see, when we're consumed by work and it just feels so on top of us, and trust me, I get it. I've been there, I've got that t-shirt, and it's not a badge of honor. But when we are consumed with it, it feels so big, it feels such a mess, it feels like a massive juggernaut that it would take some cosmic, Herculean, huge, complex solution that would take time and energy that you just don't have to unpick and unravel. It's kind of what it feels like. But what we know is it's just simple things. It is simple things that you can do on a daily basis that make a massive difference. And so in September, a lot of parents were starting to make these changes, these shifts in how they were looking at work, realizing that they aren't there to frantically manage everything. They're not there to do everything all at the same time by last Friday. And they're looking at 97 things in front of them and they're just moving all the jigsaw pieces around and just, that at best is poor management, right? And that sounded a little pointed. Just putting the mirror up. That's just poor any manager that's just going, like this, and just trying to move it all around and trying to juggle everything, including the people around them. You and I know that's not great management. But here's the thing, and I've spoken about this before, I don't want you to be a great manager. I want you to be a great leader. And a leader isn't hierarchical. It isn't, only the MD can be a leader. Everyone can be a leader. A leader in their own life, a leader with their own work. A leader looks at everything, the 97 things in front of them, and is able to ask the right questions and to look at it in a certain way to then go, that right there, that's the thing that I need to focus on, or that's what our team, our division, our department, our organization needs to focus on. Yes, there's all this other stuff, but that. They know how to do that. And they know how to do it in a calm, confident, in control way. They know how to then align their time to focus and get that thing done without the distractions, without the interruptions, without multitasking. And they know how to build the habits on a daily basis so that they can keep doing that in a healthy way, in a grounded way, in a way that keeps their energy up and it keeps them productive, but also with that energy so that they can go home and not just collapse on the couch. You see, when you start making the small shifts that allow these things to happen, the compound effect of those things over 5 months is pretty extraordinary. And like I said, if you're one of those people, I celebrate you. In fact, if there's room for comments, put yourself in the comments. Maybe share how it feels. Share a couple of the things, the small things that you did that made a massive difference. Because it's one thing me saying it, even though I've lived it, I've breathed it, I've made those changes, I've helped other people through it. But it's lovely to hear other people do it, whether you've been a client of mine or not. Because if you're still in that consumed situation, it's very difficult to really believe it. But it's true, isn't it? Those small things. And what I want you to imagine, especially if you're not in that situation, is to imagine what their Christmas was like. Imagine what their Christmas was like. They started in September, just making some small shifts. What was Christmas like? They were able to enjoy the run up to Christmas because they weren't frantic. They weren't trying to dot every I and cross every T. They were able to have that balance and go to the nativity play and the carol concert and just soak up the atmosphere, not in a stressed state. And they were able to get to Christmas Day instead of clambering and clawing your way to Christmas Day and just being totally exhausted on the day. They were actually able to enjoy the day because they were calm, confident, in control at work, which and then enabled them to set boundaries and then spend quality time with their family, doing the things that they want to do and having the flexibility to do the things they want to do with the people they want to do them with, where they want to do them. Christmas is a whole different situation when you're in that place. But I know that, for me, so many Christmases were ruined. My favorite time of year. Ruined because I was just totally and utterly consumed by work. I made myself so ill. I don't want, well, I am passionate about this. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you at Christmas. I don't want that for you at any point in the year. But you've got to remember, so going back to like 5 months ago, people started, they had a great Christmas. But here's something also interesting. That's like on the family side, but then they went into January. In January, they had their performance reviews. Now, imagine how they went into their end of year performance review with 4 months behind them of these shifts, of these. Remember, performance management is about what you do and how you do it. And how you do it drastically impacts the results you get of the what. So these people that laid down the law and said, hey, enough is enough in September, they are doing things very different. And they've been seeing the benefit of that. And they can go into that, they went into that performance management in January, really positive, being lots of evidence of how they're doing things differently, how they're far more calm, how they're far more confident, how they're making quicker and better decisive decisions, how they're more productive, how they're making a bigger difference in less time, how they're focusing on the right things at the right time for the right reasons in the right way, instead of trying to do everything all at the same time, all by last Friday. They've really stepped into that leadership at work. That's a heck of a place to get to at the end of your review. And how are they then looking at the rest of the year? They're positive. They're looking forward to it. They're basically bring it on, because it now feels like a game, because they've got these 5 months under their belt, and they've got the tools, they've got the resources, they've got the habits now, and it's like, well, throw something at me, because I'm pretty sure I can handle it calmly, confidently, assertively, and still feeling in control. You see, these are the sorts of people want to be around. I mean, think about you having a leader or a manager. Who do you want to be around? Somebody, the captain of the ship, that is calm, confident, in control, focused. Like there's a storm all around on the ship, right? The captain's calm. Can rally the crew. We know exactly what we need to do. We've been here before. We've got this. If we focus on the right things, if we focus on what we know that we need to focus on, we will get through this rough storm. But if you've got a captain who's panicking and going, we've got 97 things to do, and we got this and that, and oh God, look at that, and look at that. What kind of confidence does that give anybody around you? It doesn't. And whilst that might have sounded a little bit exaggeration, because you might not be in the office going, like this, you are giving off an energy if you are stressed, if you are overwhelmed, if you are desperately trying to juggle everything. Trust me, I thought I kind of, hid it. It was visible for everybody to see. But you want to be around people that are calm and confident leaders. See, by making these shifts, making these simple changes at work, how you're looking at it, how you're looking at work, how you're looking at your role at work, how you're looking at your workload, how you're focusing your time, what habits you're building. By doing that and the compound effect of all of those things, your value in an organization, in your team, in your department, your division, your company, in your industry goes up massively. For the very reasons I've just outlined. People want to be around the calm, confident, in control captain of the ship, not the panicking, flapping captain. Your stock's just gone up. So all those great parents that were starting to make those shifts, not because they wanted to be some great leader, but by definition of now being more in control of their workload and their time and how they're looking at things. The side effect of that is they are now a better leader. And they have more value in their organization and in their industry. That's pretty darn impressive. Is that something that you want? Again, if this is you, right, shout about yourself. I'm celebrating you because it takes time. It does take effort to do this. But what we know is it's small things. It's just the compound effect of small actions, small, simple things that get us back in control. So 5 months ago, the first of these fives that I'm talking about, 5 months ago, people started and they are in a totally different place. And they have a totally different outlook on this year as a result of starting in September. Now, some of you think, well, that's all right for them, but I didn't start in September. And maybe some people started in January. But maybe you think, because, January is at the start of the year, so it's another great... I prompted people then to, look, what are you going to do differently this year? How are you going to be better, do better? And if being more, having more quality time with your family is one of those things, how do we get hold of the work situation in order to make that happen? So maybe people started in January. And there's not even a maybe, because I know, I'll take an example of one of my clients, for example, a business owner. And it's a relatively new business. He got an amazing team. This person has struggled a lot over the years with anxiety and stress. I mean, so much so, he's been in hospital several times. He's now got a condition with his heart. I mean, it's serious stuff. But even towards the end of last year, it was still a case of he felt like he needed to be in the business all of the time. He had a great team, but he still wanted to be in the business and felt like he needed to be there to problem solve or just in case something happened. And that meant he wasn't spending time with his family, and he loves his family, he adores his family, but he just didn't have that connection with them. And the interesting thing is, he came in January, and we had our first call of this year. And it was like he was a new man. He'd drawn that line in the sand. He'd gone, enough is enough. He shifted from I have to be there all the time to now working 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day. And then the rest of his day, very specifically, spending time, quality time, deliberate, intentional time with his son, with his wife, and with his mum. His mum lives with them. She's not very well. Those are the 3 most important people in his life. And he realized he had been neglecting them. He hadn't been spending the time he wanted with them, that they needed, let alone what he wanted to do. And it just, like that, he made the decision in January. He's got a totally new daily routine. But it all just came from a simple decision to say, enough's enough, I'm not doing this anymore. And part of that was delving deep into why. He suddenly had this realization that, you know what, if I carry on like I am, I ain't going to be around for my family. I tell you what, I've been there. And then beyond that, it was just before I pass away, I'd have all these regrets of how hard I worked, all this time and effort I put into the business and chasing the money and chasing the growth. And my family were right there, and I didn't spend the time with them that I needed to and I wanted to. I neglected them. He couldn't bear the thought of that regret. And if you know anything about me in terms of some of my most favorite motivational talks, like Tom Bilyeu's A Life Worth Remembering, where one of the messages is about what you think about yourself when you're by yourself is the most important thing. And things like, a definition of hell being you reach the end of your life and you meet the person you could have been. And the definition of heaven being you meet yourself. It's like, these are the sorts of things that drive me. They haunt me. You do not want regrets at the end of your life. From somebody who's on their 7th chance of life, you're just going to have to take my word for it, okay? You don't want those kind of regrets. If you can do something about it in the moment. And that's what happened to my client. It just went, that's it. It sunk in. It went from here, a thought, and it went right in here. And it was like, that is what then instigated I need to do better here. And he did. And if you could ever had moments with maybe your partner or your children where they want to do something that maybe you want to do, or maybe you don't want to do, and because you're so busy, because you're so stressed, because you're so exhausted, there's always kind of an excuse not to do it, right? So it just doesn't get done. And they end up being disappointed. But for you, you're just like, it's just like, oh, I've avoided that. I haven't got the time, space, or capacity to anyway. Well, my client has been on more fancy afternoon teas with his wife in January than he's been in for the rest of his life. Right? Now, fancy afternoon teas are not his thing. I love them. I took my wife out for an amazing VIP fancy afternoon tea for her birthday last week. But it's not his thing. But his wife really wanted to experience it. He's been on several now. And whilst it still might not be his thing, the fact that it lights her up and it sparked this connection and this time together that feels special, that's priceless. And it's because he's made time. He's designed his week so that there is time together like that. And the same with his son. His son wanted to go to football games, wanted to go to Wembley. He's been doing that. I tell you what, he sent me a picture of him and his son at Wembley Stadium. And literally like welling up time, because the look on his son's face, he was just pure joy, like dreams come true moment. And my client made that happen. His dad made that happen, and he was beaming. It was a beautiful, forever memorable father-son moment. The kind of moment that he'd been putting off and putting off and putting off for so long, but no more. And the beautiful thing about this is when you start having these experiences, you just want more of them, because you see the impact it has on other people. You see the impact it has on you. It makes you feel good. This is what my client's been doing in the last 5 weeks. So whilst we might say, 5 months ago, that's all right for them, you might not think, we can't make much progress at the beginning of the year. He's been doing this for 5 weeks, and he's going into half term like a different person, right? With totally different connection with his family. And the beautiful thing is, his business is growing at the same time. His team are amazing, and he's now realized he doesn't have to be around all the time. Is he around to do some coaching and mentoring and the odd problem solving? Yeah, of course. And there are opportunities to create, and yeah, of course. That's the focused work he does. But the company is in safe hands when he's not around. And that's the difference between being a business owner and a business operator. If you're still like this, if for the business owners out there, if you're still like this in the business, you're not a business owner. You're still a business operator. You're just an employee and you're also the boss. That's all that is. The business owner is able to step back from the business and the business can still run. And then you add massive value in terms of strategy and also on the ground if you want to. This is where my clients got to. Massive, massive turnaround in just 5 weeks. So, and if that's you, if you made a declaration at the beginning of the year, like I encourage people, right, this year's going to be different, and you've started to make some shifts and changes, try some new things, and it's working, and you've now got that compound effect, then give yourself a shout out. Tell us how it feels. Tell us the sorts of things that you're doing that make that possible. Because it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Once you've done this, it's just about momentum there. It's just about carrying that on. And like I said, actually, the more you feel this, the more you experience it, the more you don't want to let it go. So you're just going to be craving more of it. So you're going to be making it even better. So look, that's the celebration side of things. That's an observation side of things. But I also hope that it's the inspirational side of things, because when you make that decision, enough is enough, and you go, right, I just want to be better and do better. I want to spend more time with my family, but I still want to do an amazing job at work, but I just don't know how to balance the two. And by the way, it's not about like perfect balance. It's not about like it's perfectly balanced every day, 24 hours a day. Life doesn't work like that. But if you're getting it significantly better 6, 7, 8 times out of 10, then you're flying. You're just living an entirely different life. And by the way, what are those people doing when they've made that decision and then they've started to operate as they wish to operate, setting those boundaries, doing things in the way that they're doing the right thing at the right time for the right reasons, in the right way, be that at work, be that at home? What are they doing there? I mean, have you seen some of my other videos that I'll be sharing this year where I talk about life on your terms? This is what they're building. Life on their terms. Life on your terms is one of the pillars, one of the 2 pillars of living your most extraordinary life. Because unless you define life on your terms, you are at the mercy of everything else. And that's when we're consumed by work, that's what it is. We're at the mercy of anyone and anything when it comes to work. And that spills over into our entire life. It affects our health, our emotional health, our physical health. It affects our family, it affects our time, it affects our exhaustion, and it affects our work. That's us being reactive to everything. That's that manager doing this, right? With all the pizzas going, oh, I don't know, I'm trying to get everything done. Right? We are reacting to all of that rather than taking charge and going, right, okay, see this, right, that. That's leadership. That's also a massive part of living life on your terms. So look, celebrate everybody who's making progress. I love it. Share it. Please be an inspiration to other parents, because you also know how tough it is to be consumed, and you know that you think it's going to be this big thing that needs to happen that you don't have the time and effort and energy for, when in reality it all starts with a simple decision that comes from the heart and then making some simple changes. And the compound effect of those over time is what then makes the big difference. So if you haven't though, if you're on the cusp of making that decision, if you make that decision and haven't made any progress, right? Be that in September, be that in January, be that whenever, I got good news for you, because you've got your own set of 5s coming up. This is your time. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, between now, February half term, and Easter, the Easter holidays, guess how many weeks it is? 5. The exact same amount of weeks as what my client has just turned things around in since Christmas. So between now and Easter, you could make significant shifts in improving how you're going about things, spending more time with your family, feeling better about work, feeling a bit more in control, confident, calm. Is that something that you'd like to do? Now, I'm not promising you the earth, right? I'm not promising that, if you make your decisions today, your life will be radically different in 5 weeks' time. You'll have a yacht and a Lamborghini on the drive, and you'll be able to take the entire rest of the year off, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you make a decision right now, just like my client did at the beginning of January, you could be in a significantly different place if you showed up, if you followed through, if you took action. If you believed in the process, if you believed in doing things differently, looking at things differently, if you did that, in 5 weeks, you could be in a very different place. And wouldn't it be great to go into the Easter holidays, instead of clawing your way to the Easter holidays, thinking, oh God, I need a break, to actually, for half terms, for Easter, to be kind of like the bonus, because it's sort of, we want to recharge at those sorts of holidays. The general rule of thumb is you kind of get there and I need to recharge and spend some quality time with my family. Whereas if you're kind of doing that day in, day out anyway, you've kind of got that nailed, which means when then the holidays come, that's bonus time. That's even more time to spend with your family and planning cool stuff to do and not having to recover quite so much. Yeah, life takes it out of you, I get that. But not to the extent when you're totally stressed and overwhelmed with work. Not like that. Like that just breaks you and you're totally exhausted on your knees. Well, if we can avoid that, you go into the holidays in a far better place. You've got your own opportunity in 5 weeks. And let me sew this one for you, because there's another 5. Guess what happens in 5 months? Summer holidays. Summer holidays are in 5 months. So, just like those people that started in September at the beginning of the academic year, we used the 2 examples. Compound effect of what they were doing, being more calm, more in control, more focused, more confident at work, better leader, better value, bigger difference, but setting boundaries so they're spending more quality time with their family, being more flexible with that, being more deliberate and intentional with that. The compound effect of all of this, we said they had a great Christmas, right? Well, your equivalent is having a great summer holiday. Now, how many summer holidays have you got to where, again, you're just frantically trying to dot every I, cross every T, working late, and you get to your holiday and it takes you a week and a half to actually come down and actually, stop stressing and just start relaxing, and then you got to go back home. Wouldn't it be nice to kind of go into your summer holidays a little calmer? Like you could literally just leave work at the door and then you're on your holidays, just with a different energy, with a different outlook. That would be a pretty nice thing to have, right? Well, at the end of the next 5 months, that's what's possible if you make the decision right now to go, enough's enough. I'm going to start making some improvements and changes to how I'm doing things. But we used a second example, didn't we, with the first 5 months? We said they then went into January and it was their performance review, their end of year performance review. Well, what have you got, especially if you're working in corporate, what have you got between now and the summer holidays? You've got your mid-year review. So if you start now, imagine how you'll feel, the evidence that you'd have about not only the what, but the how, and the feedback that you would get from people about seeing the significant difference in how you're going about things. Wouldn't that be a great thing to go into your mid-year review with? And then you can go on holiday and have a great holiday. You have the equivalent opportunity right now. This is this like sweet spot in the academic year. What the people have experienced, what the parents have experienced when they started in September, you can now experience for the last part, for the second part, the second half of the academic year. And you've got a performance review to look forward to. You've got a summer holiday to look forward to. Let alone the fact that if you started now, just imagine what kind of Christmas you'd have, how you'd be at the end of the year and going into next year. Just imagine that. You've now got an amazing opportunity. And I hope you can see that. I've really tried to bring this to life for you with real examples. And look, I want to help you. So, two things. One of the things, let me give you the first 4 steps of improving anything. You might have seen it. Again, this is a training that I've been sharing. Sold it on social media. I've shared it in the Extraordinary Life community. I've shared it in my newsletter, the 7 steps to improve your life. It's not just some random steps that, whatever. They are how you improve things. So let me just take you through them very quickly. Because again, I want you to come away from this with an action, with something you can do, with some hope and stuff that, you know what, things can change. I've seen that people have already changed. I've seen they can change quite quickly. I've seen that actually it's simple things rather than complicated things. I can see how it affects both work, my ongoing career, my value there, the difference I want to make. I can see the difference it can make with my relationships, with my family. Yeah, I want this. So let me just take you through some quick steps that you can do right now. Step number 1, get honest. Step number 1 is get honest. Now, let me put this in a way that maybe I haven't talked about before. If you're going around saying, oh, it's okay, it's fine. Right? How many of us have done that? Everything's, oh, they're fine. Right? If you say they're fine, so fine is here, right? If you say they're fine, do you think that the actions to improve things, right, would be different or have a different intensity or a different order maybe? If things are fine compared with it sucks, technical phrase. So if you think that, well, life really sucks right now, I'm not saying that your life sucks. Maybe you're kind of in the middle, that it's frustrating because you're not spending that time and you just keep working long hours and you don't know how to break that cycle. I get it. That isn't fine and okay. That's below there. But if you kid yourself here, if you're not honest and you start building actions here, for want of a better phrase, they're built on a bed of lies, right? Seems a little harsh. Just built on sand. You're not going to believe them. They might actually be the wrong sorts of things that you need to do, so they aren't going to work. But if we're honest and we go, you know what? It kind of sucks a bit and I'm not happy and this is a bit uncomfortable. Well, you've got a legitimate starting point. It's like your sat nav. We need to find the starting point in your sat nav. It's no good like pretending you're 50 miles down the road, because you're not. You need to start where you're at, and that means you've got to get honest. You need to dig deep, get out of here and into here. And if it sucks, it sucks. How do you feel about work? Maybe you love the work that you do. Maybe you like it. Maybe you like the company you work for and the people that you work with. Maybe you like your clients. So there might be lots of positive stuff. But is it driving you crazy, the fact that you just seem to be working longer and longer and longer hours? There's more and more and more that's being expected of you. There's more and more growth that's expected. And there's not 97 of you. There's only one of you. And your only answer is, I just got to work longer hours, which means your health is suffering and so is your family. And for want of a better phrase, that does suck. I've been there. And lots of other colourful words. So let's get honest about where we're at. And if that makes you feel frustrated, if that makes you feel angry, upset, good. That's harsh, Martin. I say it with love. I say good because it means you're uncomfortable. It means you're disturbed. It means you've got that level of passion. Like my client, again, that example. I'm going to use me as an example. I've done this. my client, that realization that they just aren't going to be around. If they carry on, there's a good chance they're just going to have a heart attack and keel over and die. That was the brutal realization that he had. And then he had, and on my way out, I'm going to have all these regrets. He was not prepared to do that anymore. And that came from here, a real intensity of no, right? We need that. And maybe that's it for you. You know that if you carry on, you're just going to make yourself ill and at risk of so many different things. Heart attack, stroke, all that kind of stuff. Depression, look, been there. It's not a burnout, not pleasant. Maybe it goes beyond that. Maybe you realize that, these are, you've got young children and you just know these are the precious magic moments and you don't want to miss them. Look, my eldest son is now 19. He's a man going out into the world. But I remember like it was yesterday and I could hold, all 5 pounds of him in the palm of my hand. Time goes so quickly. And those moments when they're young are so precious. Don't miss them. Don't miss them for the sake of some project, or more to the point, don't miss them because you didn't spend time figuring out how to get in control of your time and your workload. Because that is completely in your control. So maybe you realize that magic. Maybe you realized your relationship with your partner isn't where it used to be or where you'd like it to be. Maybe it feels like you're just living together. Still love each other, but the connection's not there because you're not spending the quality time together. And when you are together, you're too freaking exhausted to have any decent conversation or do anything else that you want to do. Maybe that's enough. Maybe it goes even deeper than that. Maybe it goes even deeper than that. Maybe it's, you know what? One or more of your parents weren't around a lot when you were a child. Maybe they were great parents, but maybe they worked shifts and they worked during the night and slept during the day, so you didn't really see them. Or maybe they spent time away from home. I mean, it's one of the reasons I didn't join the police force, which is basically the family business. Because my dad was away, so he worked shifts. And he was away for long periods of time. He was away for months at some points. And I just didn't want that. I wanted to be with my wife. I wanted to be with my family. I made this decision very early on before I had a family. So maybe for you, it's like, well, they weren't around. They tried their best, all that kind of stuff, but I want to be around. And it's interesting talking to parents that have had that kind of experience, and maybe they've had a child later on in life, or maybe now that they're seeing the grandchildren, they realize just how much they missed out on. I know I've had that conversation with my dad. He saw more of my younger sister's childhood than he ever did of me and my eldest sister. And he's seeing far more of the grandchildren than he did of his own children. He's an amazing dad. He's my absolute hero. So there's no malice there at all. It's just facts. But these sorts of facts, maybe they mirror your experience or your parents' experience. And maybe you can make a decision based on that. That's important to you. This is why we get honest about why we want to do this. We get honest about where we're at and why it doesn't feel great. And actually, all of that I've given you away because that's really step 3. But all of this is why we do what we do. This is why we get started. And then what I want to do in step 2 is start dreaming. Right? If you were living a more calm, confident, in control life, a more balanced life, if you were that leader at work and you were spending that time with your family and had that connection, what day-to-day life look like? Step into that version of you. What does it look like? How does it feel to be that person? What's possible? What are the opportunities that are coming your way? Like I said, your stock goes up. You're more likely to get promotions. You're more likely to get headhunted. You're more likely to have the confidence to go, you know what? It's time that I moved on, or started my own business, or started this side business, or moved to this other company, or take an opportunity, or step into just dreaming for a bit about what that would look like, what you would like it to look like, and live your day to day. Literally go through a day in the life of you as the next version of you. In the mornings, what are you doing? You spend a bit more time with your family. You're a bit more present with your family instead of rushing around. What does work look like? How many hours are you working? What does that family time look like? What are you actually doing? What sort of games are you playing? Where are you going? What experiences are you having? What connection are you having? How does that feel? And how does all of feeling like that just increase your joy in life? What does it look like? Really dream about this, because this is the destination in your sat-nav. We've got to have an honest starting point, but we've also got to know where we're heading. And here's the thing, our brains like this. Because if the more you can step into it, the more that feels real. Our brains don't know the difference between reality and fiction when it comes to the thoughts that we're having. And you're like, Martin, that doesn't sound right. Well, let me give you a quick example. So have you ever been worried or anxious about something in the future? About something happening in the future? Yeah? Really anxious, really worried, right? Ooh. And then that thing didn't happen. Like 98% of the times our worries and anxieties don't actually happen. And yet you spend hours, days, months, even years worrying and stressing and getting overwhelmed by it and getting anxiety and even making yourself really ill as a result of this thing that not only won't happen, will never happen. So no, our brains can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not. And our emotional state aligns with what our brain's thinking. So what we want is we want our brain to be thinking about this amazing life that you can have. Again, you don't have to be crazy about it. I mean, if you want Lamborghinis and yachts, that's fine, right? If that's the lifestyle you want. Or, it's not like you're going to live on the moon or something. You still make it reasonable. It's like, how would you like to live with your family and making a difference in the world with the work that you do? And get excited about it. Step into it, and your brain will start getting excited about that and wanting to make it happen, and looking for the opportunities to make it happen. It'll look for things that are getting in the way of that vision and go, you know what? I don't think that's so good doing that. Like stuff that you literally just do out of habit, you'll start challenging it naturally because it's getting in the way of where you want to go. It's the beauty of mindset. It's the beauty of just having a little bit of psychology in there to help you. We've now got 2 steps I've given you. Get honest about where you're at and make sure it's really deep and meaningful, and get really clear about where you want to go and get really excited about that. And step 3, kind of bring it all together about the passionate, why do you want this to happen? And I kind of gave that away really because I really wanted to give you a good start on step 1. But you dig deep into why do you want to make this then happen? This journey, this gap, I want to, shorten this gap. I want to navigate and get to this destination. Why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that because if I carry on, I'm not going to be around. If I carry on, I'm going to be in hospital. If I carry on, I'm going to be ill. If I carry on, I'm going to miss precious moments with my family, and they're not going to be young very long. And if I carry on, then my relationship with my wife or my husband or my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my partner is going to deteriorate. And I don't want to lose them. And I don't want to be the parent that maybe my parents was to me or whatever. Go deep into why. Because when you've got that, you're going to make it happen. Because now you know where you're starting, you know where you want to go, and you know why. And with all of that passion and emotion that's associated with all of that, what's going to stand in your way? Are you more likely to go and make things happen if you've got all of that in your armory, rather than somebody who just kind of goes, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I guess it could improve, but yeah, I'm too busy. I got to focus on, getting completely swamped. And if you just step back a little bit, get honest, get clear, get passionate, you're in a different place. Why do most New Year's resolutions fail after 2 weeks? Because they haven't got honest, they haven't got clear, and they ain't got passionate, right? And they're very often doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. Like, I want to get fit, never motivated anybody in the history of the world. And you getting fit so that you can run around the garden with your kids is a very different type of fitness, and the how is very, very different to if you want to climb Everest. So you've got to get clear on this stuff. Step 4. Get help. Get help. Go find somebody with the lived experience that's been through what you're going through and has turned things around and is willing to share the steps to help you get there. Willing to help guide you, reassure you, be that sounding board, give you perspective, help keep you on track when things inevitably, like, you fall off the wagon because you get distracted or something happens. That's life. It's not about perfect all the time. But I tell you what, it's a lot easier to get back on track when you got somebody by your side. Because the sheer Herculean discipline it requires to do this by yourself is massive. Right? And maybe you are that person with Herculean discipline and know exactly what to do and in what order. In which case, there's no excuse, go do it, right? Other than doing those first 3 steps, get honest, get clear and passionate, then just go do it. But I'll be honest with you, those people are pretty rare. Because most of us don't have that, and we're living real lives with distractions and all kinds of responsibilities and all that kind of stuff, right? We just need somebody by our side to help us navigate all of that. That's what getting help is. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means it's a lot easier. It's a lot simpler. You know that you're going to be doing the right things at the right time in the right order. You know that you've got somebody who's got your back. I mean, who can you talk to about this stuff? Can you talk to anybody about work, about really, like, everything, really about how you're feeling and all that kind of stuff? Is there anybody at work that you could talk to about that? Would you want to talk to anybody at work about that? Does your partner get a lot of that? And would you like to have different conversations with your partner? That's why getting somebody by your side, that's the outlet. You let all this out, and then they can unpick it and figure out, right, okay, let's work on this. Here's the roadmap. Right, but let's start on step 1. Let's start with this action here. That's the beauty of having somebody by your side. So there you go, the first 4 steps. I mean, from then it's about working with that person. I truly hope this has been beneficial. I really hope you've got value from this. I hope you can see what's possible. And look, I've given you that so you can go away and you can do that, right? And it'll make a significant difference. I'd also love to help you, okay? So this is what I've been thinking. And this is not something that I've done before. There are 5 weeks between now and Easter. Why don't you work with me for the next 5 weeks? Let's work together for the next 5 weeks. Work on where you're at. Yeah, get clear on that picture where you're going. Let's make sure that passionate why is there. And let's start taking the actions that get you back in control of your workload, getting you looking at work differently, getting you looking at yourself differently. Start taking more actions about how you focus your time, how you reduce that workload and that overwhelm from everything, the never ending to-do list. Let's start setting some of those boundaries. Let's start making plans and spending more quality time with your family on a day-to-day basis, not just on ad hoc basis. Let's work together on that for the next 5 weeks. I'm not promising you the earth, right? I don't know your work ethic. What I do know is that if you showed up, if you made that decision, that passionate decision, that enough's enough, I want to change things. I want to be better, do better. I want to have better balance, but I do still want to preserve what I've got at work. In fact, I want to be even better at work, as I want to be even better at home. If you come with that passion and you show up and you're willing to be coached, you're willing to be mentored, you're willing to take new actions, to look at things in new ways, I am very, very confident that come Easter, you're going to be in a different place. You're going to see it. You're going to feel it. Your family's going to see it. And in fact, let's do this. Let's work together for the next 5 weeks. And if at Easter, we'll do a review. If you show up, take the action, all that kind of stuff, but don't feel it's made any difference whatsoever, you're not feeling any different, the family don't see any difference, I'll give you your money back. And in terms of the money, this is just literally just to have skin in the game. This is, you know, what do they say? If you don't pay attention, that kind of thing. So it's just a nominal to say, hey, look, I'm committed. I'm willing to show up. Right? So let's call it, so it's 5 weeks, £500, right? Yeah, £500. I mean, if you have, and I'll leave it up to you how many coaching sessions you want in that time, but I can tell you now that if you have one coaching session a week for the next 5 weeks, starting next week, I have just massively undersold that, right? Underpriced that. But I'm not in this for the money. I'm not here looking to be a gazillionaire. I'm looking to help you. And if you've stayed the course and you've got to this point, then I'm pretty sure you're the sort of person that probably wants to make a change. And you haven't got fed up with me yet, so maybe there's something there we can work on. No ongoing commitment or anything like that. I will say that, because you might be thinking, oh, this must be some kind of, what do they call it? I don't know, bait and switch, or I don't know. I don't trendy terms. I don't know what they are. This isn't me trying to get you in the door, for £500, and then we get to Easter and then you go, oh my goodness, this is really working, thanks, can we continue working? And I say, yeah, we can, for $50,000. I ain't gonna do that to you, right? Do I have a £10,000 annual coaching program? Yeah, but I ain't gonna sell that to you. I don't think you're gonna need that. What is most likely to happen is you might want to continue, and I would certainly encourage that if we're making some progress, and as long as you're happy to. It's like just to be the same, £500 a month, 2 sessions a month. Or you might go, you know what, I'm making so much progress, I've really got a good handle on this, Martin. Can we just have a monthly check-in? Great, £250 a month. Right? So what I want to do is make sure that it's very clear that, yeah, this isn't to try and get you in the door and then upsell you into something crazy, right? I'm not here for that. I'm not here to make a gazillion pounds from you. And bearing in mind that I only have a handful of spaces in my diary anyway. I do my coaching on Wednesdays and Thursdays, so my time is limited anyway. So I don't have loads and loads of spots for this. But if you've gotten this far, if this sounds good, if this sounds like, you know what, it is time for me to say enough is enough, and let's give this a go over the next 5 weeks, and let's see if I can make some kind of progress like some of Martin's other clients, and let's see where we go, and then we'll review it at Easter and see. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work for you, then fine, you'll get your money back. But I will say, in all the time I've been doing this, I've not had to give anybody any money back before. because what I do works because it's from lived experience. It's not just something I read from a book and then I'm trying to teach somebody how to do something that I have no experience of. I've lived and breathed this. The worst parts of the corporate ladder bit, climbing and building a business, and the best bits and turning it around. And I want the same for you, because people in September, man, they're flying. People who started in January, flying. I want you to fly too. Next 5 weeks could be really important. This is the important part when you make the decision. Draw that line in the sand. Say enough is enough. Commit to doing better and being better. Being there for your family. Living the life you want. Living life on your terms. Go and get honest about it. Go deep. Get clear about and get excited about where you want to go. And get passionate. Come up with some of those really deep, meaningful whys as to why this is a must. Not a I'd like to, but an absolute non-negotiable must. And then drop me a message. Drop me a message to say, hey, I saw the video and let's give it a go over the next 5 weeks. Or I'm in. Or just drop me the number 5. Right? I don't want to make it complicated for you. Just drop me a message to say, hey, can we set something up? I'll get back to you. We'll set it up. And over the next 5 weeks, we'll work together on shifting how you're looking at things and making a big difference. I can't wait. I love doing this. I love the impact it has on you, your family, your work, your prospects and opportunities going forward. It's really exciting, but you've got to start. So now's your chance. Now's your opportunity. Now's the time. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's been a long one. We covered a lot, but I hope you've got massive value from it. I hope you see what's possible, the art of the possible. And I hope you can see that there's also some science behind the steps you take in order to make that lifestyle that you want come true. And I'm right here for you. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much, and speak to you soon.